Frank, World Cup's over. You've got your, by and large, your full squad back together. How are preparations going for the return to Premier League action against Wolves on Boxing Day?
Yeah, going very well. It's nice to have everyone back together. The last of the England boys back in the group, so now we can really focus on Wolves and the players that have been in training for the last couple of weeks, really working hard. It's nice for them to have a break, important now for them to work and use it as a mini pre-season. We had a game against Manchester United behind closed doors, which the lads showed great attitude and application. And Villa, and then ready for Wolves. So yeah, it's obviously an important moment coming up, and we need to be ready to hit the ground running. It's
been an unprecedented break because of the World Cup. Never been a Winter World Cup before. So we had Australia. We spent some time with a lot of the squad. They had a bit of time off, as you say, as the rest of the Premier League clubs have. And then you've had a week or so with them now. So what have you wanted to get from the time together during that period?
Well, for the players, firstly, to work on their own personal condition and work, and because we have to be fit and ready for the schedule coming up. And then as the players have come back and we're working with the squad to work on our game and our play and work together and understand that we want to improve every day we work, and so every training session is an opportunity to do that. So it's been good that we've been able to focus on training without games as such, just to focus on the work, on training on ourselves, and we'll hope to see the results when we play Wolves and onwards.
And we know the week leading up to the World Cup break wasn't what you want from the team, wasn't what fans want, of course, but how important is it now the players are back that they focus on the many positives that were there, the defensive still, the changes to the midfield, the performance against the likes of Crystal Palace and so on? How important do you want that for your team?
Well, it's important because it's a fine line. We went into the last week, and if the results looked differently, we would have gone away very happy with the first block, and then all of a sudden you obviously have a different feeling after losing. Particularly, I think the Bournemouth League game for me, because I think that was an opportunity to finish on a high. The league table would have looked very different with just a matter of 3 points, but it's gone now. So I think it's important to understand it and understand that the two games against Bournemouth particularly were not of the level that we have to be. It's not a bad thing to know that. They have to know that. But also to look forward with a positive attitude, correct things, improve, work hard, understand the small details and differences that will get us the results we want going forward. So it's, the best teams play with real consistency. So to go from the Palace performance to what we saw against Bournemouth, I think we have to work back and work out what changed in the meantime in terms of the level of our output of the games, and become more consistent with it for sure.
You mentioned about how congested the Premier League table is. One win can lift us up. So in that respect, how significant is the Wolves game to start the second part of this season in a positive frame of mind?
Well, they're all significant, but yeah, of course, because you've had a break and because we came off the back of losing our last game. So it's a team that are around us in the table. Wolves are a high quality team. It's a new manager, so slightly difficult to analyse them as such, but a lot of good players. And so we just have to, at Goodison, be really ready for the fight inside of it, and be ready with our quality of play. So we've had a good lead into the game, so we understand the importance of it.
You say you're back at Goodison, obviously your time as manager, you know the importance of Evertonians and getting behind the team. So you're looking forward to feeling that impact, feeling that connection with the fans again on Boxing Day?
Yeah, it's a two-way thing. I always say the same on that. It's up to the players to ignite the fans, and then the fans to stick with us and help us, and they do it generally at Goodison. We've seen the effect that they had and have on us in the running last season and early parts of this season. And Boxing Day is not an easy game. People with their families and they've had Christmas Day. I think that goes for any game on Boxing Day. I'm old enough to have played in many a game and managed in them. But we can make a consigned effort, I think, as players, as fans, to really create the atmosphere that makes it difficult for anybody to come.
And then looking ahead to the Wolves game again, just a few updates on some players that were missing beforehand. So Dominic's obviously, how's his recovery going?
As we sit in now, Dominic's recovering well, and he's going to join in with us in training tomorrow. So it gives us the potential that he may be available for Wolves at the minute. But I don't want to commit to that because he's been out. We all know he had various sort of injuries, particularly the knee was the one we want to clear up. We're hopeful that now is cleared up as such. And so it's making sure we get him match fit and ready. So we'll see how that one goes.
Now, how important is it for you to manage and the medical team as well, just to make sure, because he's such an important player?
Yeah, it's massively important, but some things are out of your control with injuries. It's not for the want of trying of anybody. Dominic, ourselves, medical team, you just manage every moment as well as you can try and take on board all the information about the player if they've had sort of repetitive sort of injuries. I know they've been happening with Dominic for a while now, but predates myself. But we work very hard to try and cover all the bases, and then hopefully we can get him back regularly, because I've not really had a regular fit Dominic, and that's when you're talking about the level of player he is and can be and what reference he is for us. That's a big deal. So we have to get him fit.
And player who looks fit again, was great to see him back, is Ben Godfrey. So he's had some minutes for the under-21s. You're hoping to have him available? Yeah,
sure. I think it's great for Ben. He's been a frustrated lad when he's not playing, and I get that. He's training hard, he's training well. So yeah, he's now ready for selection. So we have to keep an eye on how well he trains, and when the right opportunity comes, he can come in and take it.
And there's a chance for him and the other centre-backs to stake a claim, because Connor is ineligible to play against his parent club, Wolves.
Yeah, sure. So we'll have to make a decision on that one. As I say, if everyone trains at a level, give me a nice problem, we'll understand a bit of what Wolves' threats may be, and what type of players that they may play with a new manager, and we'll make that choice.
And just a few others. James Garner, how's he progressing with his back injury?
Yeah, James is progressing okay. It's a difficult injury, so I'm still looking at February for him, so he's just working away.
And we spoke the final game at the end of the Australia tour, and you said about how some of the young lads have taken their chance to step up, and you can see them in the first team picture. Do you still think that will be the case for the game against Wolves for the likes of Stan Mills, Isaac Price, Tom Cannon?
Well, yeah, the onus is on them. They know that I'm very happy to put in young players, but they also have to be of a level to help the team. And of course, in those forward areas is where the squad is not so heavy, especially with Dominic being out for a while. So Tommy comes in and showed great quality in Australia, to be fair, and attitude. So that all three boys that you mentioned there, and some others, have trained well, and it's finding the right time if they train well to give them the opportunity.
Tom, you mentioned there in particular the way he came on against Bournemouth, and in that 10-minute spell, his goal in Australia, and obviously Salomon Rondon leaving the club. As you say, there's a space there in the squad, isn't there, for him to step up? Yeah, and
he's doing very well at the minute to sort of throw himself into the picture, and the way he's training with us and playing and scoring goals when he's playing for the 21s. So it's good. It's really good to see the development of him. To step into the first and make an impact, as I say, is another level. So at the minute he's showing everything he can. So that's great, because it's a lovely thing to feel that there are young kids that are coming through that are our own and that we've produced, and start to knock on the door. It was really good for everyone in the squad.
And you mentioned before as the Premier League break as well, about potential reinforcements in January with Salomon leaving as well. Is that work going on behind the scenes to potentially do that when the window opens?
Sure. I think with this, as I've come to the club, we were relatively busy in the summer window in terms of trying to change the shape of the team and move forward. But it was always going to be a job that will take windows. It will take time, and you can't fix what you may want to in one window. I think we brought some really good players into the club, but we do feel that we need help in the January window in terms of right now, especially where we've lost Dominic, obviously, and hopefully that changes. But we can see there that maybe in terms of can we get some more options for us at the top end of the pitch, we're certainly looking at that.
And the World Cup players who are away, spoken about Connor, but Jordan, Idrissa, Amadou, you'll see them as being available for Boxing Day?
Yeah, they're all there and available, yeah.
And we'll just finish on Jordan. You've been a big fan of his qualities, obviously, and you spoke in the World Cup, the level of his performances, did that show yet again reiterate he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world? Yeah,
I think it did. England #1 is a really tough job. I think it's probably the most pressured job in football, in a sense, the expectation that comes with tournaments and how a mistake could be so costly. And Jordan has shown with his regular performances for us and now his performance for England that he's absolutely merits his position in that team and our team. So I'm delighted for him. I'm ashamed for the lads. I thought we had a really good chance this year, the way the team was developing, and disappointed for Jordan and Connor, because it looked like a good camp. It was a really good feeling, and Jordan's obviously integral to that in the starting 11. I think Connor's integral to it in terms of even when he doesn't play, he's an incredible character, as we all know, and affects people around him. So for Jordan for sure. I think he just showed his qualities yet again.